Almost.
Okay.
You are live, it announces. All right. Me and
All
Scott here
right.
again on a Thursday. So, Scott, what do you got there in front of you?
So this is well, first off, Ellis, I have an apology to you, because if you watched last week's episode, or whatever this is, stream,
Whatever.
uh, yeah, whatever, uh, this was the page that I was working on. I finished it up, over the weekend, and I sent it to Ellis, and Ellis suggested some changes. And so I made the changes and quickly sent them off to the publisher. And then I sent them to Ellis, and Ellis said, "That's close. Keep doing them."
Thank you.
So,
Well,
so I had sent it off. Your advice was great. So what Ellis did, I'll show the viewers this. So Ellis basically sent me this, which is like, this was my original for that panel. And so Ellis had sent me this, and I as a, you need more something like this, and so that's what I did. And then Ellis, I think, said, "Well, you're still off in some areas," um, but I was okay with that. I mean, I felt like the change was. I mean, it was too late. Well, I
you,
sent it
you
to
got you
them
got
to
a
say,
you got an improvement managed on it. The main thing was it was like it was mainly a measurement thing,
it
and
was,
like you say,
yeah,
the moment you had reference in hand, it was like you
yeah.
were able to build on a better
Well,
drawing by looking at reference.
so in this panel, they're kind of arguing, and she's angry at him, but but even but I mean, I know that you talked about like the nose and stuff, and I didn't go. I When I drew it, I immediately was like, yeah, I need to put a little more into it, and this was good reference. But I did think it was a little extreme for the script.
Hmm.
Maybe she wasn't quite that angry. I
She
didn't think.
wasn't
I mean,
that
that girl looks
volcanic. Yeah,
right, and so, and not to say your second advice wasn't good, but I felt like it was enough of improvement. And like I said, when I sent it to them same time I sent it to you, because I immediately was like, okay, this is good advice. And really, it's a little rough. I should have taken another pass at erasing it and kind of cleaning it up. But I'm trying to. And well, I want it to be one something I can do in a reasonable amount of time. And I think I got, counting the hour that I drew the layout, I think I got between 3 and 4 hours in this page. So, I mean,
that's
and this
quick.
is an easy page. There's some stuff about it that make it look easy. And so, but I think if this is the level of finish that will get me the job, then I'm
Hmm.
good with that in terms of like how much I'm making on it and how long it'll take me and what I get done. Um, you know,
About 60 a
so
page. Yeah,
yeah,
that's
it's
that's
60 a
about how
page,
long
which,
you'd want to. Yeah, it's about how long you'd want to spend on it. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'd prefer it be about an hour, but uh,
Sure. But when you really break down 60, if you manage to do things in 3 hours, that's a pretty good rate. 20 an hour.
yeah, it's okay. I mean, that well, here's the fallacy of that though, because people will talk about that, and I saw there was an inker that came out recently and said he was making 90 a page to uh, ink comic pages, and he was spending between 11. I think he was making 90 a page, and he was making between or was taking between 11 and 13 hours, and he broke it down and he was like, I'm making like $11 a page, or $11 an hour. The problem is, in reality, comics are not taxed like, you can't compare comic income to regular income, because you're taxed at a higher rate for comic income, because there's no you have to pay
Social Security. No social.
well, yeah, you don't you yeah, exactly, you don't pay the part of the taxes that your employer pays on
Hmm.
a regular job. And so you roughly will pay like 40% in income tax on comic income, which sucks. But because, yeah, people are like, oh, I mean, I don't, if that guy's and this is the guy that inked Greg Capullo on Batman.
Hmm.
And I mean, it's like if he's making 90 a page to ink a Batman page, that's insane. I mean,
Oh, it
that's
doesn't that
ridiculous.
doesn't seem like enough.
No, oh my gosh, no. And I mean,
Well, the
comics
deal
don't pay.
is, the inkers are working at least twice as fast as anybody penciling.
Oh, not according to this guy. This guy's saying he's spending 11 to 12, 11 to 13 hours a page.
I don't know who's drawing artwork like that that's bogging
Greg
him down
Capullo.
that much. Oh, really?
Greg Capullo. This is Greg Capullo's inker on Batman, and the inker is saying it's taking him. He's spending 11 to 13 hours on a page, and he's making $90.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, you're right. Typically, an inker would be faster, but um, you know,
Well, that was the
traditionally, I should
bread and
say.
butter. The only guy that was trying to make a living doing pencils in the little studio we had, the
Yeah,
Salem Studio in San Diego back
yeah,
in '95,
yep.
had Mike Miller in it and Ben Herrera. Ben Herrera actually was the other one. Only Scott Benefield and Ben Herrera were being the guys that were penciling. And then they were
Oh, what did
handing
Mike
it
Miller do?
all off to Jason Rodriguez and Mike Miller. Mike Miller wasn't trying to get work as the penciler at that time.
Oh, he was inking.
He was just the inker, and he was the guy who was probably the busiest in the studio. He always had well, no, Mike Christian was probably the busiest.
What about who was it Leitner? No. Who was the
Uh,
one guy you're with that did there was somebody in your group, the painter. Who's the painter? The cover guy. Was it not in your studio?
yeah, he stayed pretty busy. He managed to keep himself busy. That was Mike, Michael Meyer. I think it's Meyer. Yeah, Meyer Jr. Wait a second. Ken Meyer Jr. Yeah,
That's not
that,
who I was
that,
thinking of.
that was
But
our the only guy working regularly as a guy that was having to shoot us for reference. And
oh
that's
yeah.
it's kind of funny because he was just he was an illustrator
Yeah.
and not a guy who was capable of stepping up and doing comics because he could not invent. Well, and of course he could have been doing comics if he felt like doing a photo shoot for every panel,
Right.
but
Hey, guys do it.
guys do it, and I assume as good as that guy that works with Brubaker is, he does a lot of photo swap, photo
Yeah,
grabbing.
I don't know enough about him.
I don't either, but
I don't
I
care
can
for
tell
the
he doesn't need to, but I think he does do a lot of photo grabbing for
he might.
backgrounds and stuff like that.
Well, heck, Steve Rude does,
Oh yeah, sure. Everybody with any sense is going to get together their materials before they tear into something. They're going to have all the reference they need.
Yes.
So let's see. Well, we got warm weather again tomorrow, and then
Then the bottom drops out.
the moment it turns January, starts to get a
Yeah.
little cool. So
Yep.
that's exactly right, isn't it? That should be the way it always works.
Yep. Yep. I mean, I don't. It was weird. Michelle and I at Christmas. Michelle and I were, or the day before Christmas. Michelle and I. Oh, where'd we go? Oh, we went downtown. We were going to go to a museum. Every place we went was closed. We went to a couple museums that were just flat out closed, and it was weird because it was warm, but I didn't mind no snow. I'd prefer no snow. All it does is make things difficult for the holidays, in my
Oh yeah.
opinion.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, and get people cranky. But
Have the car
did
break down.
your car broke down?
No, I say it
Oh,
causes the
the
car
car.
to break down.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Don't
yeah,
want
yeah.
that
That's
just because it's pretty. Doesn't make it. What
Yeah,
you sent
exactly.
back interesting reaction. I was reading the Frazetta girls on Instagram, and they had this Conan of Aquilonia,
Oh yeah.
which is apparently something that the Lancer crew was,
No,
I
no, it's a
guess,
death dealer.
closing up shop or something. And
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm confusing two Conan stories
they
or two Frazetta stories.
that sounded totally unfamiliar to me. Conan of Aquilonia, and but anyway, they closed down, told Frazetta to forget it. They aren't paying him for this one, and so the next step is sending back his artwork. Well, apparently that artwork has gone missing and has never uh, been seen since. So there's
Pretty famous piece of art too.
I guess so, yeah.
Oh yeah, I've
I didn't
totally
know
heard.
how famous it was. It was news to me that such a thing could even happen. Someone
Oh my gosh, yeah.
could lose
I
a.
think that happened to Frazetta on quite a bit of his stuff actually.
Hmm,
I think a lot of the famous Frazetta paintings that you see around are actually he did repaints of a lot of his stuff.
yeah.
In some of those books that I have a couple Frazetta books, and it talks about how his stuff maybe not like I think like a lot of stuff he did for like Warren would go missing.
Oh, I thought Jim Warren treated him pretty good on those originals. But
I may
again, I
miss.
mean, everybody kind of screwed him on um, the idea of paying him more when they used it again. And
Yeah,
I think that may have been one of the flaws of Warren. He may have tried to get away
re,
with, yeah, getting some extra
reuse
money,
it.
his money's worth out of it.
Well, you know the yeah. So the comment that I said on that deal was there's probably some flunky at Lancer that's on his on his living room wall because it's been missing for since what like the late '60s, early '70s,
Yeah, it would have been all the way back in my high school days,
and
probably
then they
so.
reused it on something.
Yeah, I guess they tried to get use out of whatever they had as existing. Obviously
They didn't pay
they've
him.
obviously got a copy of it to the extent that they got a photo of it.
Yeah, they probably had transparency shot of it
Hmm.
or something. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think Frazetta was a guy that until late in his life probably struggled financially. Until he kind of became, you know, what he became. But when he was doing all the paperback covers, I don't know that he was. I think his saving grace was probably was so fast. You
Well,
know.
he says he was just extremely fast. In the most recent post I was reading, he was talking about that he would paint those overnight, which just amazing to think about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
So today I worked a half day and I got off of work at about 10:30. I had to unlock the building today. It's funny. People are like, I'm never letting them give me a key to this building because you end up having to either lock up or unlock occasionally. And I don't mind too much, but I had to be up there at 7 every day. So about 30 minutes earlier than normal. And really probably about 15 minutes earlier than normal. Again, not a big deal, except for the fact you have to be there. You
Hmm.
know, the instant that you have to do something, it stops being, all of a
Yeah,
sudden the drudgery sets in. You're like, oh man,
yeah,
I wanted to stop and get coffee on the way to work or whatever. You know, you lose any freedom that you might have had. Anyway, but because of that, my work closed at noon today, but I got to leave at 10 because we're closed. We got 8. So normally, my office closes at noon on Fridays, and because of the holiday, because of New Year's, we're closed tomorrow, but it would only be a half day, so we got a half day off today. But basically they paid us for 8 hours, so that bled into today.
That's cool.
And yeah, I mean, so I got off. Unfortunately, I've had a headache most of the day, but
how are you doing on? You had a little brush with the notion that you might have COVID. How has that worked
yeah,
out?
I didn't know if I told you about that.
Well,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
what has that worked out to
Oh,
be?
so okay, so to recap for anyone that hadn't heard this story, or I don't know if anybody's watching or not, but
I don't know
uh,
if we mentioned it. I think you just
maybe I
no,
emailed you.
not on
Anyway,
this show anyway. Yeah.
okay, so last week, the Thursday before Christmas, and again, I left at 10 o'clock because it was or noon. I was a little bit later that week because I didn't unlock, but I left with the intention of going to the museum and maybe going downtown and hanging out downtown a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I get a text as I'm pulling out of the parking lot, and something told me you need to read that text. I never read text when I drive, so I
Mm-hmm.
pulled over. I pulled over in the parking lot of a business and read the text, and it was my wife telling me, well, that one of her employees came down positive with COVID, and they had just had like their Christmas thing at work. They brought food in for Christmas,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, and Michelle had sat across from the guy who initially had COVID, actually. And so this was a big uproar. She got sent home again. She's working at home now. The boss was very unhappy. But so what happened is she told me, I've been exposed to COVID. So immediately I'm like, well, I can't do all this run around I was going to do. So she said, well, they're testing us. They were doing home test or rapid test or whatever. They had a bunch of them up there, so they were administering them to everybody. And so I called our safety guy at my work and talked to him, and he said, well, it's a little bit early, but if she's okay, you're probably good. But he said, but really it needs to be 3 to 5 days. It was only 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody came up negative, except for the guy had it because he was home, right? So
Mm-hmm.
so she bought some home tests, which are apparently very hard to find right now. But she managed to find a 2-pack at Sam's. And so the next day, which was in the three-day window, she took a test and she came out negative. Now her work required her to go get a regular PCR test, which is like the long test. It takes 24 hours to get results. And she did that on Monday, and she was negative. But so we kind of like over the weekend, Christmas Day, we told everybody in my family, like, well, Michelle could have COVID, but she's taken 2 tests, and they've both come up negative. But we haven't got the big test yet. Well, she was negative. Well, Sunday we found out like 4 more people at her work got it. So COVID has kind of ran through her work. Out of a dozen people, like 5 of them got it.
Well, it's probably going to end up being a little bit of a blessing because it's probably the Omicron,
Yep.
and I don't know how many of them were already vaccinated, but probably most of them.
Everyone that's got it was vaccinated.
Yeah.
I think. I believe there's one guy in her office who's not vaccinated, and I don't think he got it.
Yeah.
So make of that what you will.
He dodged. He dodged catching a cold.
That's luck of the draw, man.
Yeah, it really is. Not catching a cold, being around somebody that's hacking and coughing and having to take a car trip with them, you're going to catch it.
Yeah.
If they're the ones giving you a haircut, you're going to catch it.
Well,
but it's just that sort of situation.
Well, the blessing in this may be because her boss has been freaked out about COVID. Now he's got it, so if he gets it, and I think he's already recovered from it. I think it was like a 24-hour thing. Maybe he'll kind of relax and let everybody come back in the office like my wife wants to. I don't know.
He's absolutely sure he had it. I mean, he got
Yes,
tested and he got told.
because they on his regular his first test came up negative, but he took the official 24-hour test, where they
Mhm.
had to go to a place and drive in and that sort of thing. That came back positive, and he got sick over the weekend.
So he did feel like he had a cold.
Yes, and that's what it felt like. It felt like it was like the worst cold he's ever had, but a cold, not never
Hmm.
short of breath, never
Never lost his
overly
sense of
hacking.
taste or anything like that.
No, nothing like that. I don't think. No, I think it was just
Because
strictly a
that's one of the
cold.
big COVID tells, is supposedly losing your sense of taste.
Well, I don't think with Omicron
Yeah,
that's
no,
has
no. The
prevalent.
Omicron
Well, it's
is
mutating
the
to
the
a
little
lesser
evolution.
virus.
Yeah,
Yep. So the theory is, or the hope is, that now that it has run its course, maybe this guy will realize that he's not going to die from it, but he is going to die one day.
mm,
That's what my coworkers always get annoyed because every time we talk about this, I'll tell them, "Look, I got news for you guys. One day you're going to die." You know,
yeah.
they don't like that, but anyway. So Michelle has not got it. She's still working from home. Probably will be probably through the end of the month, but it was at her work, but somehow she dodged a bullet on the deal.
Excellent.
So anyway, and I never, for me, the great thing about it is if she had got it, then I would have to quarantine from work. And because of what we've just went through at my work with the virus, not the cold virus, but the computer virus,
Hmm.
my computer is not set up to work from home. So I would just be stuck home which don't get me wrong, uh, 2 weeks off work, I have the time. 2 weeks off work would be awesome, but 2 weeks at work, off work, stuck at home because I'm contagious and uh, not able to do anything and and meanwhile, what kind of chaos is happening at my office? Because I
Yeah,
guarantee I'd still be getting calls and emails and would be horrible. So,
yeah. Because
you know,
you're allegedly working at work or at home.
right,
Yeah,
right. Well, I don't work. Somebody, somebody's talking about drawing something. Want me to draw something? I told them, look, I don't draw anything at work. I tell other people what to draw.
yeah, yeah.
But any day now I'm supposed to be getting this promotion, so which is top secret. Nobody tell anybody. But
What is the what are you getting a title change?
yeah, I would move. I mean, I've got the paperwork. Theoretically, it's already happened, but my title goes from crew leader to unit leader, which means I'm responsible for more people.
Oh, I got to see if I wanted to. I'll just send you this image. One of the Frazetta girls' images recently was of a cover that and all the. It's nice that the Frazetta girls put all the verbiage on it. On it, they
Yeah.
talk about the history and they talk about what this and that represents to Frank, where he was at in his career at this and that point. And it's the one Tarzan at the Earth's core, I believe. I'll share the screen when I dig it up. Probably the quickest way would be to go to Instagram and go to Frazetta Girls and get it all over again rather than try to
Oh
dig it out
yeah.
of my hard drive. Oh, I had a great idea. I'm going to make regular. I'm going to try to build my channel. Oh, did you see my Conan thing?
I
My
don't think I
Conan.
did.
Oh, it's on this YouTube channel, and I just
Oh,
published
oh.
it.
No, 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 no. You talking about Corbin?
Corbin, yeah. What did
You
I
said
say?
Conan.
Conan. I sure did. I said
Yeah.
Conan because I was looking right at the words "The Witcher," and I've been thinking about how much of his hair was black. Oh, Clayville would have been the perfect John Buscema Conan. He he just looks.
Is this the image, Ellis?
Oh, let me look. Yes, that's it. But the one I've got is just a little more. Well, what's interesting about it, of course, is it's not just strictly oils. It's just mixed media. he was trying to figure out what he was going to be doing as an illustrator for that sort of thing. And so he was throwing gouache and oil up there. But anyway, the tendons on the thing are really something else that run all through his arms,
Oh yeah.
especially in the detailed one. It's a really cool image. I'm still mystified by what the heck the creature is he's supposed to be on the back of. Of course, it could be anything, a cave bear.
No,
I guess at the Earth's core.
Yeah, it could be anything.
Yeah, exactly.
To me, it looks like a lion, kind of, but it's got a bear face.
Yeah. Well, I got a higher resolution one of it somewhere, but I just wanted to show this to you. Let me share my screen.
It doesn't have any legs.
Yeah, well, no, he's always looking for ways to just turn things into. He wants you to look at that one point of action. He doesn't want you to look at the ground or anything else.
Well, and I don't feel this. I don't know how early in his career this was. But and he did several more like this where it's like a white background kind of thing, and I don't really care for that look.
Yeah, he was finding his way, but
sure. Oh, there you go.
See that arm? Look at that arm. You got
yeah.
You got that elbow that's running that big clump of muscle, and he's got it connecting all the way up to the big bone on your wrist. But I'm not sure that really happens like that. I don't know that happens like that, but it sure looks good because it delineates everything. He's got this tendon running across and under, and that goes down there. It's just so great. Now here he falls apart on the underside of the arm, but it's because he's turning the edges he's a little shaky on turning the edges there. But he gets this simplification just great of the. I'm moving my mouse like it.
Yeah, I can't see anything.
You can't see
where your mouse movement is.
Yeah, exactly. I think I'm putting all sorts of information across, and I'm not. But anyway, I just really dug that.
So here's kind of a similar. It's a different. I don't know if you can see that. See, I mean, he's got I think the tendons in the armor.
Oh, let me share that or show that. Well, first off, I have to get rid of that one. Remove from. Oh, good. There we go.
See, I mean, it's
Yeah. Oh, does it? Yeah. See, can you track that? Can you track what is?
Well, it's flipped. It's the other arm. But I mean, yeah, it's he had this right here on there. I think he was close enough.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, maybe it does run right from that point of the. Obviously, it's running under and around in most cases.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Anyway, I'll have to check that. There, I've given myself an anatomy lesson. It'd be kind of dumb, I guess, to call Frazetta on not knowing anatomy at any point, but
well,
maybe he's wrong.
I don't know that he was a strict. I don't know. I mean, if you read, supposedly when he was younger, that was when he was. When he was a kid, he trained with some Italian guy, and that was the thing the guy always criticized him about was his anatomy. Mm-hmm.
Well, supposedly he likes, as usual, the usual Frazetta quick study kind of story. Yeah. He supposedly copied a Bridgman book overnight and pretty much knew his anatomy from that point forward.
Yeah.
And it looked like he was copying from. Well, I don't know if you could trust the same volumes being out during his time, but it looked like The one that says the machine or whatever of Bridgman.
Oh,
Which one is that?
yeah. There's the human machine. The one that I've seen some drawings that he did that were supposedly those studies that you're talking about,
Hmm.
and it looked like I think that I tracked them back to from Constructive Anatomy
Okay, constructive.
was the
Maybe
Bridgman
so.
book, but all those Bridgman books were out back then. In fact, well, I have a newer one, paperback, but I have when I was a kid, I bought the Human Machine. I was at a used bookstore, and I think mine original one is a hardcover, and I think it's from like the early 50s. So it's been around for a while. I
Oh
don't know
yeah.
when he did this, but
Yeah, I just didn't know how long Dover had put out the same anthologies under the same name and
yeah, it's the
same
same
group,
thing.
same
It's just
groupings.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah, they were, and then they combined them all in that whatever that one big book is called. I like the small books, but I've got
Hmm.
a couple. They redid the big book a while back. I got a review of it on my. I think it's called the Bridgman's Complete Anatomy or something like that. Complete Bridgman's Anatomy,
Hmm.
and I've got that review of that on my YouTube channel. Gets a
Cool.
lot of hits. I've just been viewed a couple thousand times.
What is your YouTube channel?
Scott Sackett.
I have a link to it below.
Okay, yeah. I've been getting a lot of traction lately.
What are you up to?
I've had in the last couple of weeks, I've had maybe half a dozen comments on my, people ask me questions and stuff on my video. I'm gonna do a video. The next video I want to do, I'm hoping to do it this week, is I'm gonna go through one of my sketchbooks. Let's see, is it this one? I think it's this one. Oh yeah, one of these. The problem is what I've found out is if you do a sketchbook that has a spiral at the top and you flip
Yeah.
through it,
Hmm.
then half your drawings are upside down. So so I'm gonna do a through one way, and then I'm gonna reverse it and go through this way. Well, this way. Then do two videos.
Well, that's
You
interesting.
know.
Yeah. I was thinking about doing something a lot like that, going into my hard drive and saying,
Oh yeah.
"Look, this fascinates me. This is stuff I found on the internet, which
Oh yeah.
should keep me from being copy struck in any way for showing off visuals that I found on the internet.
Maybe. I
That
think
that's
so.
I think it protects you that way,
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, it's on the internet, so.
and then just go through several files of. I've got one called Art Ed, and it's just huge. Might as well crank that out and show people what I got. And what's the point to be funny would be. Now, this is the thing. So I got all that off of the internet, but I'm sure they would surely draw the line at me making a PDF of everything I've got on my hard drive and offering it on Gumroad. Just because you got it off the
Yes.
internet, I
Yeah,
wouldn't.
I would think so.
Hey, Wim just subscribed to you.
Oh, thank
He
you.
he just showed up, just
Oh,
subbed.
thanks. Hey,
Yo,
I'm gonna take my
everyone.
headphones off. Hang on just a second, Ellis.
Okay, I did an octopus. Had fun with that. Need to do.
Okay. Hang on just a second, Ellis.
Okay, I'll
Oh,
be
now I can hear you.
fine.
All
So I
right.
was telling. Oh, are you back?
Okay. Yep, I'm back. I've got new headphones over Christmas, and they're really nice. They're Bose, but I have a headache, and they're in ear, and they're putting pressure on my head, and I was starting to get my headache back. I just got rid of it.
and you want to not have it. Yeah.
I want to not. Yeah. So to try and beat
Sometimes
it.
the words won't come to me. The tense,
Yes.
the part of speech, all those things just won't come to me.
Yes. Anyway, I was going to show you something I bought recently. So, I carry a sketchbook. I bought one of these things, or I bought a bunch of these. Remember, I don't know. Did you see what I bought last time we were downtown for my sketchbook?
Oh, if it was in that shop you were in forever, I was wondering if you were ever going to get out of that shop.
I was there for 5 minutes.
I was ready for my coffee for one thing. No, you weren't there for 5 minutes.
That's
Oh,
right.
you kidding? You weren't there for 5 minutes.
When I was in the shop, I bought one of these, and it was $5. But I bought a whole bag of them for $7 online. But it's
What are
a
they?
little sticky thing, and it's got elastic in it, and you can stick it on your sketchbook and stick a pen or a pencil in there.
Oh, cool.
Anyway, I thought it was kind of cool.
Just make it.
But so I told you that I sent this page, and part of my reasoning was, one, I didn't want to spend a lot of time on it. Like I said, just to make it more economical for me, but also they told me that it wasn't due till January 15th, but I really, really wanted to turn it in early, and
Sure.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like sometimes when people tell you, "Oh, no hurry," if you take too long, they'll
notice.
they'll notice. And I wanted to be the first one there, so that they would. I wanted to be the most professional appearing of the and so I sent it, and I talked about a few things I changed from the script, and I told them, I didn't send them any thumbnails because I didn't really want them to. I felt like that I wanted to show them what I would do. I said, but if I was working on this, I would send you thumbnails, and I did some roughs. I would send you roughs also. And the guy was like, "Oh yeah, we'd want to see thumbnails and roughs," and but he said, but apparently I was the first one to turn my work in. But I think from talking to him, they gave this same script page to everybody. So
Interesting.
because he said, we'll come in and we'll see how everybody else handles that page, and so we'll see. I have no idea how many people I'm competing against. I mean, I hope
you do feel like it is a competition, huh?
Oh, absolutely. They did pay me for this page, though.
Yeah, $60. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, I mean, it's not. I'm not going to get rich off of it, but I'm not working on anything, so I might as well be working on something,
Oh yeah.
I don't know what their long-term plans are. I mean, supposedly it's an ongoing. So, now if they come back and go, we want you to sign a contract to do, 10 years of this, I will not do that.
Oh no.
But I don't know,
And some of these
I mean,
little outfits like this can be kind of overbearing with the legal stuff. It's like, no,
oh my gosh, yeah,
you aren't getting this and that from me just because we're fellow nerds or something. No, you're not going to.
Right.
Oh,
well, my contract for Source Code Press was 10 pages.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oops.
I had my mom read it. My mom used to work. Well, she's retired, I guess, technically, but she works in a law office. She's paralegal. And she looked at, there were a few things that she questioned in it, but because she didn't understand some of the language of it. And, but it was pretty straightforward. Most of that legal stuff to me seems pretty straightforward if you read it on like contracts and stuff, but you got to read it carefully.
Yeah.
There were a few things I questioned him about, but nothing deal breaking, but it just covered everything, but they do a lot of stuff. So
Now,
you
what's the
know,
name of the company?
Source Point Press.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's the big group you're working with. Okay.
Right?
Well,
No,
now,
wait.
okay, okay,
Not for this.
okay. Not
Not
for
for
that. I was going
this.
to say, what the hell? I
No, no,
didn't
no.
think
I
it
don't
was.
know who's doing this. I think this is like two guys that are working on comics. You know,
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. I think what's the name of it? I think the script. What did I do this script? Oh, sorry about that. Oh, there goes that page.
Catch it.
Electric Lips Comics.
Electric Lips.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know what that's all about.
It's just like what it sounds.
It's just like what it. Yeah, it's a little weird. But you know, whatever.
Oh
I'm
yeah, but doing
again. I
comic
mean, on
books is
this,
a little weird.
I'm just a hired gun. I mean, you know, if they like what I did, and you know, there may be somebody that comes in with something a little bit flashier that really, you know, I mean, that'd be my luck. Is I'll kind of follow the rules about laying out the panels the way they describe it and stuff, and somebody else will come along with something crazy, and they'll be like, "Oh man, we
Yeah.
really
Well,
like
no,
that."
that'll always get you where you look at something, you say, "Oh, that guy broke the rules," and it's like that's
Yeah,
exactly what they wanted. Basically, it's
yeah,
like when you read those discussions of Frazetta, it was obvious that he just had a hard time sitting still for doing anything but his way. You know, you
oh
gotta
yeah,
if you're gonna hire Frazetta, you're gonna have to turn him loose. You know, you're gonna have to say, just do it your way, Frank. You know, talking about
yeah.
that's the reason we
Well,
hired you, Frank. We want that Frazetta look.
well, didn't he have a deal with Warren where he would just bring them covers and they'd buy them no matter what or something?
Yeah, yeah. Well, typically, and then they'd have writers that would say,
Yeah,
yeah,
that
just
wrote the
that
stories
wrote,
around them.
yeah, wrote stories around them.
Because I think I read somewhere that kind of galled him because he felt like they were mining him for ideas,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Which I mean, if you think about it, they were.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Harlan Ellison wrote Rock God based on a painting of
oh, was
Frazetta's.
oh yeah.
Well, he titled it Rock God. I don't know if Frazetta later kept the same title or not.
You know, I think
He
I've heard
probably
that, and I
should have.
think I read that Frazetta didn't like that title.
Hmm. Well, he probably gave it a new title then.
Is that the one of the Martian on the crucifix?
No, that's
That's something else.
yeah, that's I think he may have even called that Alien Messiah. I'm not sure.
That's what. Yep, yep. You're right.
What else was yeah, I'm gonna have to look up and see if there is any sort of notes about the title change of that. I think it was called Rock God. It's in Warren. I I I put up all of my painting materials, and in one of those, I wasn't disgusted with myself, but I just realized that it was just taking up too much room, taking up too much psychic energy to see all that oil painting materials just laying all over the place. So I packed it all up again, saying I'll break it out again discreetly if I need to do something, or not even need to if I wanted to do something.
Wait,
And
are you giving
seeing
up on
all
oil
that,
painting?
seeing all this Frazetta lately, it's got me going because one of the big things I'm studying on this Frazetta is that he was using almost exclusively washes when he began, and for a lot of it, he just stayed with washes, even though it's oil. And you can do that. You can, and that makes me want to get the materials out, and mess everything up again.
Why not, Ellis?
Yeah, why not? What else am I doing?
Yeah. exactly. Christmas Eve, I was talking to my brother,
What's
and
that?
who my brother's a couple of years younger than me. We were talking about retirement, and I was telling him about what you did, what you do, your
Mhm.
average day. And my brother, it's interesting because I've told several people about what you do, and it really is an insight to their personality on how they react.
Uh-huh.
Because some people have been like, "Oh my gosh, that sounds horrible," that
How
I don't know
many
what they.
people have you made me the main topic of conversation? I don't know.
Oh,
I
quite
don't
a
know.
few. I talk about you a lot.
Oh
Like
boy.
a few. But my brother was like, "That sounds awesome," Now he's
Well,
not an
yeah, and
artist,
I
so he
dig I
doesn't
dig your
draw.
brother. He probably he and I could probably get along. He just is interest in doing things like being a guy that's doing ads and stuff like that.
Oh
Uh,
yeah. Well, he's the mark. He was in the marketing department at his work, but he was telling me that he's actually now the director of outreach. Which I'm like, what is that? And he's like, or no, not outreach. What do you call it? Anyway, he just goes out and deals with their clients, like their corporate clients,
uh-huh.
and he just kind of goes out and smoozes them and makes sure everything's okay. And it's like, man, that's a perfect job for my brother because that's exactly what he is. Just kind of a, you know, one of those guys that just, and he likes it because he's not in the office all the time. He's out and about, and you know. But
Well, sounds like a pretty
yeah, he
nifty
was telling
job.
me because do what?
Sounds like a nifty job.
Yeah, uh, yeah, and because of his work, he works at a credit union. Because of how they do their 401k, he's like, man, I'll be. He said about 8 years he'll be retiring. I'm like, dang, man.
Well, that's cool.
Oh
Is,
yeah, he's like,
now
I'm gonna do like
is he
Dad did.
younger or older than you? He's older, isn't he?
He's younger than me,
Oh, okay.
but if he retires 8 years, he may retire before me. Maybe I don't know, but our dad was in the government and he retired fairly young. And Chris is like, I'm gonna do it as soon as I can. I'm retiring.
Oh
You
yeah,
know.
man. That's what you do, man.
Well,
If you've got
I have an employee who's in her 70s,
and you
and she's
wish
still
you would
working.
retire. Yeah, yeah.
No, I no, I don't. I
You,
mean, she's a good employee, uh, but I don't know why she works. I mean, well, I know why she works because she likes having extra money. She doesn't want to live on a limited income.
mhm.
I mean, she just bought a new car not long ago. You
Well,
know.
yeah, that's a very good reason to
Yeah, I
make.
mean, she goes to Hawaii every couple of years. I mean, she lives. She likes to spend money. So, and her thing is, oh, my dad retired, and he said, people retire and they have no plan on what to do.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and
I
no,
never
and
really got that. There's a
no kid,
to
me
me
neither.
not to me not working is just
It's second nature.
such bliss that I don't know what more do you want.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I think people just don't. I think a lot of people they don't really have any hobbies, and they're so identified with their work that they just don't know what they would do if they didn't work.
Hmm.
I think that's how my wife is, you know. And the
Well, it's
and the people
interesting.
that I've talked
It's probably good that most people are built that way.
probably, yeah. Well,
You
the uh one of the people and I've only told a couple people about your thing,
okay?
but
Good.
the ones that have recoiled are literally people that like don't have hobbies,
Hmm.
and but it's funny they don't really have hobbies, but you can tell they like work for their vacation time, and it's like, well, your every day could be vacation,
Yeah, and it
but for
is.
them, yeah, but for them, the idea of like, well, I'm gonna read a book. I mean, I don't think any of
Well,
these people that I've
I'm
talked
doing
to
that too.
that have recoiled at the idea of this retirement that you've embraced. I don't think any of them are like people that would read a book for pleasure.
Hmm.
They, and And none of them are creative types.
Yeah.
Certainly not. I mean, I think as a creative person, it's just like, man, the ability to just get up and do stuff.
I was going to update you on my pleasure reading or listening to on my regular drive to the walk in the park. The
Yeah.
Gun Seller by Hugh Laurie. Did you
Oh yeah.
follow up on thinking about getting a copy of that yourself
I
from the
got it from the
library?
library. I haven't started listening to it.
Okay, it's cool. It's very it's fun to hang with. And like I say, it's like you get this thing where he was planning on doing like a Stephen King, and he didn't want the book to be successful because it was by him,
Oh yeah.
and ride on his fame in any way. He wanted it to be a book that people wanted to read, and it's good. I mean, like I say, he learned his P.G. Woodhouse lessons well, even though it's not P.G. Woodhouse. It's different than, and it's a lot of fun. He could have easily written another one. That's
But he just
underneath.
did the one.
Yeah, he's just done the one thus far.
Oh yeah. So today for Christmas, among other things, my wife got me a Half Price Books gift card, and so I went to the Cowboy Hall of Fame. I like going there at Christmas time because they have it decorated for Christmas. And I went after that. I went down 63rd. I went to Half Price Books, and I bought two books. I bought a George Perez book called Sirens, which is something he's done fairly recently. I haven't read it, but it's this nice looking George Perez art. I think it's through
And
IDW.
he just died.
No, he's sick. He has like
Oh,
terminal cancer.
okay,
I think he's got between 6 months and a year to live.
okay.
Also bought a book. I bought a trade, or it's not a trade, it's a hardcover of Hercules. Bob Layton did 2 4-issue miniseries back one was in the early 80s, one was in the mid or late 80s. And this collected those, and I got that. So I read that this afternoon, or most of it. And so I drew a Hercules in my sketchbook.
Oh,
I
cool.
always kind of liked that. I never liked Hercules until I read that, and then I always kind of liked Hercules.
Well, the moment and I forget when I was introduced to this, I must have actually been dabbling with my mom's college books because she had that old Edith something or other,
Edith Hamilton
Edith
mythology.
Hamilton's book of mythology, where basically Stan Lee cribbed all of it.
Yeah.
for everything he was going to do later. Or he and Kirby were both basically very aware of that. I mean, everybody was. She was
Oh yeah.
She was where it all came from, really, in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
What she had to say about it went straight into everybody else's brain.
This book?
Yes, Edith Hamilton, Timeless Tales. Yeah, everybody ought to
Probably
take that out.
edition.
Everybody, yeah, it is a little later than what I have. But
yeah,
the moment I learned that Hercules was there was an attempted assassination on the poor little kid by one of the gods, and he strangled the snakes, I thought, this is my guy.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. Well, dude, I need to go take some aspirin.
It's time. It's time. We spent an hour at it just about.
Oh, we started early, didn't we?
Yeah. Well, we spent 54 minutes at it, however you want to call it.
Yeah.
Okay, I drew an octopus. I'll share that with everybody on my Tumblr page. Okay, Scott.
That's cool.
Anything you want to add?
No, thanks for subscribing to my YouTube channel. I hope you dig my videos. I need to do some more.
I need to check them out more often. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't put anything up in a little bit, so I'll try and do the video about my sketchbook this weekend, at least the first one. I've got a new phone with plenty of memory space and plenty of battery power, so I have no excuse other than laziness.
Oh, that was another topic we could have talked about now that we have the same phone. Oh, well.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, everybody that eventually sees this, thanks a lot for coming by.
Yeah, thank you very much.